Good morning, students. Welcome to the Intellect Tech Talk hosted by the Computer Science Department. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I'd like to just announce one important thing. Please note, in terms of the POPIA Act, this event is recorded and will be uploaded onto the website. If you have any issues, please kindly email me. I will put my email address in the chat box facility. I would now, without much more time taken, I'd now like to hand over to Dr. Mandla Gwetu, who's the discipline leader for computer science. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lena. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our third Tech Talk. The initiative of Tech Talks is mainly meant to empower our students, and we'd like to empower them in two ways, in terms of getting them to hear from industry experts, in terms of some of the contemporary technologies that are being used out there, and as well in terms of exposing them to some of the opportunities out there. And it's such an honor to have industry partners come through and, partner with us on this initiative. So this is something meant for students. So students, welcome. Please use this opportunity, to the fullest extent. I hope you've got your pens and papers ready, ready to take notes. There's obviously some opportunities that, details will be elaborated on in terms of how you can join the different recruitment programs that are available to you. And welcome as well to Entelect. We've got, speakers from Entelect today. We've got two of them. They're coming both to tell you about the programs that are available and also to upskill you. There's two types of companies generally that our students go out into. They go into the traditional companies like retail, banking, or they go into a specific, IT company that perhaps provides IT services, provides consultancy. And Entelect is an example of one of those companies that specializes, in providing software development solutions. But you'll hear more about that from the people from Entelect themselves. So it's a unique opportunity, particularly from students within the ICT space, just to find out what is it like working for such a company, what are the opportunities. It's also a unique opportunity for you to ask questions, some of the burning questions you've always had about the working environment. So the structure of our Tech Talk today, first of all, we are going to hear from Bianca McFadyen, who is, from the marketing department at Entelect, and then we'll hear from an alumni of ours. And I'm very excited, to have her join us. She'll be introduced later. So this is something special where you, as our students, get to hear from someone who's been in your shoes. Now they're on the other side, and we're so grateful to have people like that come back, just to give back and share of the experiences and advice that they can give. After, the second speaker, Jenna, comes up, we're then going to move into a question and answer segment where you will be unmuted and given the opportunity to audibly raise your questions. Throughout the meeting, you will be able to type your questions via chat, but we encourage you, take the opportunity to actually ask your question in person, and that will be at the end, and our invited guests will be available to try and assist with answering those questions. So please get ready, everyone. Our first speaker is coming up. Her name is Bianca McFadyen. She's the Marketing and Communications Manager at Entelect. She also leads the graduate program. Thank you so much, Bianca, for coming to visit us and show our students some of the opportunities that are available to them at Entelect. I hand over to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mandla, and thanks to everyone at UKZN for having us this morning and afternoon to come and chat to you, tell us a little bit about who we are and what we do, and then obviously hear from one of your very own alumni a little bit later on. I wish all the students good luck as well for the rest of the year and their studies and exams coming up, and obviously the start of semester 2 in a month's time. So what I'm going to do now is just literally take you through a bit of a presentation from Entelect, and then, as Mandla said, we will have a little bit of a Q&A later on. So I hope you enjoy. Give me a moment. Here we go. Sorry, guys. Just tested this earlier and I'm struggling. Just give me a moment.
You're okay, Bianca. Don't worry. The students are eager, just as we are. I won't put you in added pressure. The numbers are increasing too. So.
Oh, good. So at least we're giving time for everybody to come in and not
yes. So maybe there's a glitch for a reason.
There we go. All right. We're in with the money now. Great. Welcome to those students that have just joined us. My name's Bianca. I'm from Entelect. I'm part of the marketing and communications team here, and we're going to just kick off by giving you a little bit of a brief introduction about who we are, what we do, how we can help you, and then kind of next steps going forward into your career. So a little bit about Entelect. We basically believe that we're a company that has proven that software development is not synonymous with non-delivery, which is a great misconception out there in the working world. We've also proven that it's possible to have a fantastic culture without sacrificing delivery and customer satisfaction. We basically call that our secret sauce. And over the years, we've been able to replicate this culture secret sauce across many different locations, which I'll take you through in a few minutes. And we've also believed that we can be both successful as a company, but still do good for our people that work for us and our customers whom we work for. So yes, we have applied this and we have replicated this across the world. And it's something that we continuously work towards every day. So a couple of the nuts and bolts about us. Like I said, we are a people's company. We refer to ourselves as a people's company who just happen to build great software. We believe that if we look after our people first and foremost, they will then be happy and do great work and look after our customers. So that is where we base our principles on. Founded in 2001. In fact, we celebrated our 20th birthday last year, and we had a fantastic celebration with everyone. We've also been run by software engineers at our leadership level. So what that means is that everyone from our CEO, COO, CTO, and greater leadership team have been career software engineers at one point in their lifetime. So they understand fully what challenges we face as software engineers in the company. Right now, our headcount stands at over 1,200 intellectuals globally. As I said previously, 90% of those are software engineers, BAs, data solutions engineers, and UX engineers. We've more recently also added a QA contingency to that spectrum. So we now have a division of quality assurance engineers as well as testers that have joined us. Where we are based, and I know it's always a question I get from a lot of students, is Johannesburg. We have an office in Melrose, in Centurion and South Downs Bridge Office Park, Cape Town and Centurion, New Zealand, both in Auckland, offices in Auckland and New Zealand, the Netherlands and Amsterdam, and more recently the UK and Australia. But don't worry, guys, we haven't forgotten about Durban. In fact, our CEO is on the ground at the moment, busy sourcing offices that will most likely be based in Umhlanga. Right now, we have about 30 individuals in Durbs working for us and working with us, and they are based at home for now, but they do get together in hybrid working spaces to collaborate when they need it. They're obviously just waiting for us to open up offices, and hopefully that will be done very soon. And then we also have a lot of people in the rest of Africa as well. And again, we hire from all over Africa, and most likely we'll also be opening up offices in Zimbabwe fairly shortly. If you've seen the news of late, Entelect has been ranked as one of Africa's fastest growing companies, along with a few others, which we're very proud of. And as you saw in the first slide, we've been able to maintain our culture regardless of the fast growth that we've experienced over the last couple of years. These are just some cool visuals of where our offices are. Bottom right is Melrose. The middle circle is our Netherlands office. Sure, you can recognize Pretoria with the beautiful jacarandas, and then Auckland in bottom left, and Cape Town, obviously, with Table Mountain being predominantly in that picture. We still haven't added in UK and Australia, them being very new to us this year, but I'll get around to updating that hopefully in the next coming weeks. So just in terms of some of our clients that we work with, predominantly we work in the finance and insurance industry, but it's basically in every industry that has approached us where we can add help and provide some solutions for them. So Omnia is actually a neutrology company, so very different from your Deloitte and Allen Greys and maybe F&Bs. And then we've dabbled with Vodacom. We're currently working with MTN as well. And like I said, a lot of the banks as well. This is by far not an exhaustive list, but just some of the companies that you might recognize. So in terms of what we're involved with is we don't just focus on our internal people and providing training, which is a big part of what we do on a daily basis, but we also look after community and provide a lot of things around hackathons and co-jams. I'm sure most of you here today, well, I'm hoping most of you here today have heard about the Entelect Challenge, University Cup. Basically what that is you get to participate in teams and compete against the other universities around South Africa. And it's in a one-day hackathon, which will be in August. It's normally over a Saturday for one day. And there you get to solve a very cool problem. And yeah, like I said, compete against other universities and end up walking away with either a computer for yourselves, that's normally a gaming computer, and also something for your university. Previous years, we've had 3D printers that we've gifted to universities through this challenge. But we're always open to new suggestions when it comes to what you actually need in your hubs. We do a lot of beer and techs. We do a lot of coding dojos. Our Tech Accelerator program is also extremely important to know what that is. So it's basically, we offer our people that work for us time and money to work on a pet project or a new idea that they've had, but have never had, either the resources or the mentorship or the guidance necessary to get that over the line. So basically for 8 hours a month is what we give them, plus some money towards the hardware and software that they need for that project. And the best part is that the IP remains with that person or that team. Entelect has no claim, and we don't want any claim to that, even though we've given our people time and money to be able to create that. It's also a great way for people to learn. So if you're on a project and maybe you're using a different technology and you want to get involved in Tech Accelerator to learn a new language or framework, this gives you the opportunity to do so and continuously enhance your skill sets. Then a lot of meetups. Hopefully you would have seen us and Ladies That Code. A lot of the meetups that we have out there with our community around AI and dev. And then we attend lots of conferences like DevConf. We've also got our own internal conference called Dev Day. In fact, we had it about 2 weeks ago. And again, it's just a very safe platform that we give our people to practice their presentation skills. So if you have an interesting subject or a topic you want to talk about, and you want to practice that in front of an audience of over 1,000 in a safe, secure space, because we're all rooting for you to do your best, Dev Day is that day to come along and do that and have some fun with your colleagues, eat some pizzas, drink some milkshakes, and get to have maybe some social time after that just to reconnect with peeps. Some of our tech that we work with, and I need to stress that we are a tech agnostic company. So that means that we don't use whatever tool or language set is out there to solve a problem. We look at the problem first, we understand what the challenge is, and then we choose the tech to best solve that problem. But yes, you might be familiar with a couple of these technologies that you see on the screen right now. And you probably have a favorite as well. I know our next speaker certainly has a favorite, but I won't divulge what that one is yet. Our code, these are intrinsically our values. This is what we live by. Every single person that we take on board and that becomes one of us literally live, breathe, eat, and sleep our code. And I think it's one of these values, or all three of the values are certainly values that can be remembered and practiced every day. So it's really stuff like to boldly grow. So we really strongly believe that growth isn't optional. We want our people to continue improve and grow. And through that, we want our customers to continuously improve and grow. We want to be able to continuously teach our people and assist themselves and their skill sets day in and day out. We also believe that our people should be willing to teach others around them. So it's a great personality trait that we look for when we are recruiting is are those people able to engage and really, look to others to help as well and not just help themselves. Fellowship is our second value that we live by. So we really believe that relationships are key. Remember, you're at work for 8-9 hours a day. So being able to create and build and maintain relationships both with your colleagues and project team members as well as the customer is important. And that we really do believe that collaboration is something that sets us apart. Two minds are better than one type concept where, if you're working by yourself, you probably can do just so much, but as a team and collaborating as a team, you can get so much more done and also learn from each other because of that collaboration. And then obviously get things done. So software engineers, you all like to see your work over the line and what difference you've made out there. So obviously delivering results that make an impact is important to our people, not just to the company, but to our people, and making sure that our service and quality of our code is always at an excellent level. Like I said previously, we live by this code. We are a bunch of high performers. We do believe that creating and building and maintaining those relationships with our colleagues, friends, customers is important. Growth and continuous improvement all the time. So if you're an individual that just kind of wants to do the same thing day in and day out and not grow, we probably won't be suited for our environment, because we've got training that almost happens daily and a full calendar of different types of training that we provide on a monthly basis. We believe in trying to get as many autonomous teams in place. Why? Because again, it facilitates growth. And then we like to kind of have a work-life balance. So we've got many social clubs, which you'll see in the next couple of slides. And we definitely believe that, if we're going to work hard together, that we're also making friends and we want to socialize together. So we've got a number of clubs that people can join in. Even if we don't have that club, if you want to start it, you can. So we started as a very small company. We've obviously grown, but we've still maintained that feeling of community and a family environment within Entelect, regardless of where we are based in the world. So there you can just see some of our sports, hobby and geek clubs. Like I said, if you don't see a club that we offer or a social that we offer in the office, you're more than welcome to start it. I think more recently there's a baking club that's just been started where a bunch of peeps get together, and I think they play a little bit on the whole master chef who can make the best meal, and they do tastings and stuff. So again, if it's not on here, you're more than welcome to go and create it if we don't have it. So in a nutshell, if Entelect is somewhere that you want to be, what happens from here is we offer full-time employment from day one. That means once you have sent us your application, which consists of a CV, an ID, or your passport and your latest transcripts, you will then be invited to what we call an open day. That open day consists of a bunch of us as senior leadership getting together and having a fun day with you, where we take you on a little coffee run. You are joined by other students around the country that we've invited. We then have some lunch and we do some directives or pair programming together. And you literally just get to spend the day enjoying each other's company and both of us getting to know each other in a physical setting. So we hope most of you will be applying to our grad program and through that, being invited to our open day. And you can do that at career@entelect.co.za or reach out to me after today. Once you are employed with us, we then offer a boot camp, which takes place from January to the end of February every year. So you'll start your career with us in Jan, and you'll go on to what we call boot camp. And what boot camp is it's a program, a graduate program that has been set up by us. In fact, it's won one or two awards in the past, being one of the best graduate programs to attend. And you get to be trained by some of the best leaders in class inside Entelect, and you get to obviously establish relationships with those 70 to 100 graduates joining us, which will be 2023. And those friendships never leave you. In fact, the WhatsApp groups and the Slack groups that are created basically remain with you, and you are supported by those team members throughout your career at Entelect, which is extremely special. Bootcamp is also aimed to accelerate your growth so that afterwards you feel like you're not just a graduate coming out of university with no working experience and that you can't add value. It gives you the tools and the confidence to literally hit the ground running as soon as you are placed on a project after bootcamp. So again, if you are unsure about what it is, we've got a huge section on our website that you can go read about, and also listen to some of the previous grads give kind of testimonials about what they learned at bootcamp, what they took away, why you should apply because of what you learn, and some of the fun that they had during that. If you can't find the links, I'll also just send it to the uni for you guys to have a look at another time. So just some of the awards that we've won over the years. We don't really focus on that. It's just really pretty pictures. Our main focus is on our people, and obviously through that, comes great things like being recognized as a company out there from other institutions. So again, reach out at www.culture.entelect.co.za. You can apply there. Today, and I never do this, I have put my own email address there. So if you do have further questions or inquiries or want to send your application to me because you feel more comfortable, then you're more than welcome to do that. And then obviously you can follow us on our social media platforms for any news. We've normally got, our grad roles being updated there as well, and a couple of our adverts, thought leadership and cultural activities going on our social platforms as well. So yes, everybody, that is it from me. Nice and short. And I hope at least you got something out of that and learned a little bit more about who we are and what we offer and how we can help you.
Thank you so much, Bianca. It's so exciting to hear a lot about Entelect. It's a company that I've been following for a while, just in terms of the many of our students that have, gotten involved with you. And it's just, beautiful to see, the company growing from strength to strength. And some of the things that stood out for me listening to your presentation It's just the age of the company. It's only 20 years old, but you're making history, and also just the footprint, the global footprint. You spoke about New Zealand, Australia, and it's also great to hear that you're coming to KZN. So well done on that, and we look forward just to having more of our students come to actually join you.
Thanks.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bianca, and thank you again for offering our students opportunities, both in terms of the grad program and in terms of employment as well. I can see there's already some questions for you, piling up on the chat box, but we'll give you a chance just to look through them, and then perhaps we'll get to that at the end, at the Q&A section. Friends, next we move into an exciting time. It's good to get a job. That's exciting as well. It's also exciting to hear code, code stuff, and not to just hear it from anyone, but to hear it from someone who's been in your shoes. And it's my pleasure to introduce Jenna. Jenna has been one of our students, and what I can say about Jenna is that she's bright. She's extremely bright. And Jenna's a senior software developer at Entelect. She works as a full stack developer. If you're not quite sure what that is, she'll tell you a lot more about it. So without further ado, it's exciting to have you, Jenna. Welcome back, and thank you so much for taking up the opportunity and the invite. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Let me just share my screen. And while I do that, I'm happy to hear from the chat that there's also some anime fans out there. So there actually is an anime club at Entelect. And we chat a lot about that. It's fun. Okay, sharing my screen. Can everyone see it, Bianca?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So today my topic here is coding advice and tips for students in preparation for the working world. But really, it's the kind of stuff that I wish I was told before signing up for my job, my career. So let's start off with just a little bit about me. How did I get here? Why am I here talking? Mandla has alluded to the fact that I am one of his past students. So I am a UKZN alumni. I studied computer science and applied mathematics. I didn't go down the ISTN train, which I'm sure a lot of you here are. And then I also did my honors under Mandla. So he was my supervisor, and I did some cool image recognition stuff. Following on from that, I actually took a gap year. How stressful university can be, so I'm sure you all know what I mean. I was fortunate enough to actually have that opportunity to take a gap year after my studies, and it gave me some time to think about what I wanted to do post my studies, I suppose. And then I guess I made the best decision I've made so far. I joined Entelect. So in 2018, I entered Entelect as my software engineer. I went through that boot camp that Bianca was talking about. It's a real grill, and it's fun, and it's memories. So I managed to work up my career. So I spent 1.5 years as a software engineer, then I went up to intermediate, and now I am a senior, and hopefully aiming towards being in charge of a team. So that's basically how I got you. Hi everyone, nice to meet you. Hopefully you guys will also be able to share your careers in a slideshow one day. It's fun. Why are we here? So you guys are here, you want to hear some coding advice. So am I going to talk to you about some fancy hacks and optimizations and how-tos, maybe perfect syntax? No. I'm not. You're in the wrong place. I'm here to actually go back to basics and basically see how you can hone that lifelong skill, which is coding. It really is a lifelong skill. So first of all, I'm going to speak about which language should I learn. So that was one of the biggest questions I suppose I had when I started my study and looking for jobs and everything, because I studied what was it? Back then we had Java, C++, bit of Python, bit of PHP. I'm not exactly sure what changes have been made, if any, to that curriculum. So you might be looking at some different languages now. And I always wondered, okay, cool, I've learned these languages now. What do I apply for? I know Java, do I apply for Java? I know C++, do I apply for a C++ job? And quite frankly, it actually doesn't matter. It's a bit of a bold statement, but perfecting a language in itself isn't important. You've got many, many, many years ahead of you to, perfect that skill and perfect underlying concepts of it. But really what is important is, what a language is based off, what it stands for, the building blocks and concepts that it is. So like, for example, is it, object orientated? Is it functional? Is it hybrid? Because really languages are merely just a tool in your toolbox. And much like the same story can be told in different languages, so can the same problem be solved with different languages or coding languages. Obviously, some fit the problem a bit better than others, and you'll be proficient in some more than others. But luckily, learning new coding languages is actually much easier than learning spoken languages. So rather focus on understanding the fundamentals of the language rather than being, a star pupil in one language, because like I say, you've got plenty of years to hone that. And then just to explain, what I mean by saying that, let me dive into a bit of my story. So like I said, Java was I think the main language that we got taught during my time. And, back in that day, I was adamant I wanted to do nothing but get a job coding Java because it was the coolest thing since sliced bread. I was good at it. I found it fun. And I thought it was just perfect for me and nothing else, would come close. Like that's all I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I didn't even want to consider changing. But then, little did I know, I have not actually coded in Java since I left university. And that is not because I can't, but it's because I choose not to. My passion has simply shifted as my experiences have grown. I've experienced different languages, I've experienced different frameworks, I've experienced different problems, and I found my passion. And, to answer, Bianca's question, yes, I have a favorite now. It's not Java, it's JavaScript. Yeah, that one's fun. Have a look at that one. It's becoming very important and it's growing trend. But I think let's take a step back there. I mean, some of you might wonder, okay, cool, I spent all this time studying Java at university. What was the point? Did I waste my time? Should I have learned something different? And the answer is no. It wasn't a waste of time. And, there's a big point. Like I say, learning Java, for example, taught me how to understand and pick up new languages. It doesn't matter what language you start with, because once you learned how to learn a language, everything's at your disposal. So never compare what you're learning here to what other universities are learning, or, when you're looking to apply for a job and you're like, oh, I haven't studied that one. It's very easy to pick up and learn on the job. So basically, universities aren't there to teach you everything you need to know on day one of your job, but rather they provide you with those skills to learn everything you need as you go. So really the moral of this language story is don't limit yourself only to the things that you've studied. Think broader. You'll find your passion and place, much like I've did, as you gain that experience. So yeah, take that step back and don't focus too thinly on just what you have studied. And then, going on from that, we all know that, problem solving is an important skill. It's one of those base skills And one of the things that you definitely should be focusing on honing. So that's basically knowing how to look at a problem, the bigger picture of the problem, how to step back, how to step in, break it up into smaller chunks, and how more importantly, how to solve it before you write any code. So the reason for that is it opens you up to being able to apply those solutions anywhere, with any language, any application type. And it doesn't basically force you into using one paradigm or one language, because you've solved the problem, then you use the languages in your toolbox to apply that solution that you've solved, rather than, writing it first and then realizing halfway through, oh, you could have done it this way. So that's an important concept to almost hone and grow and focus on. But don't worry, I suppose. Then again, what if your problem solving skills don't quite fit the problem, and you've found something you can't solve? What then? Does that mean you're not good enough? You need to learn more? No. Well, no, because we have Google. So I'm sure most of you, no doubt, have come across the meme speaking to how much developers like to copy paste code from the internet. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's 100% true. We are copyright plagiarists. Yes. But just to explain what I mean by that, Google is really a developer's best friend. Now, I mean, everyone can type something into Google and get an answer, but we are professional Googlers. We need to hone the skill of knowing how to Google exactly what we need to get the right answers. And believe me, it's a skill. You get some interesting rabbit holes that don't solve your problem if you Google slightly off course. But really here, the point is no one is ever expected to know everything. We are expected to know how to find the answers though. And of course, I have to say, disclaimer, no, I am not saying copy everything off Stack Overflow for your projects and like university work. Please don't do that, because there's a very big difference to note here, is that at university, you are expected to know everything because you're being taught it. You're being tested exactly on what you're being taught and what you're expected to know. But in a work environment, that's completely different. That goes out the window, because every day you're encountering new problems that you've never seen before, that no one around you has seen before. And you can't be expected to always know exactly how to solve it, the moment you see it. And that's why, Google is our friend. If no one else knows the answer, we need to figure it out, and, don't figure it out alone. And, speaking of that, is don't be afraid of needing help. Like we all do. Like I'm a senior software engineer and I still require the help of my team daily. So definitely don't feel like you need to know everything up front. A career in coding or development is definitely an ongoing learning curve. You come across new things every day. And it's fun. Yeah. So, following on from that about how, you're not expected to know everything on day one, is that 90% of your learning is actually going to be done on the job while you're actually working. So that's why I say not everything needs to be known up front. So yeah, this is the expectation that most companies will have, especially us. I mean, you will be learning on the job and you'll be having fun doing it. So, for example, you're expected to make mistakes, and you're expected to ask questions. And it's important to, find a company that has that safe learning environment that suits you, that safe environment to fail and to learn. So almost a challenge is be brave and experiment and make those mistakes. The quicker you fail, the quicker you grow and learn. Unlike university, getting something wrong doesn't mean you're failing a test or you're failing an exam. It just means that you've now done something to learn from. It's not often seen as a bad thing. In fact, it's often seen as a good thing, obviously depending on, the failure. But more often than not, it's actually just a form of a learning opportunity. So definitely, don't be afraid to fail, because if you make a mistake once, the likelihood of you making it again diminish. So don't be afraid to try something and not get it right the first time. But yeah, similarly to that, ask questions. So often I'll have new graduates say, sorry, I'm asking too many questions. Is it okay if I ask you a question? I'm wasting your time. I'm sorry. No, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't worry that you're bothering someone, because that, quite frankly, isn't the case. Growing you as new joiners and answering those questions that you have is actually just another part of our job. It's part of, mentorship and guidance, because at the end of the day, it's all about collaboration and helping each other. So we want to grow you. And, don't be afraid of that word, collaboration, teamwork, group work. I'll be honest, I pretty much hated group activities at university, because somehow I ended up with the lion's share of the work. Basically, don't be afraid of that, because it's not the same in a job environment. It's honestly a good culture at work. Working in a team, learning, growing, having fun together. And the likelihood is that your teammates at your company or around you that you work with one day will be your best friends. So don't shy away from group work if you are not having the best time at university. So just basically use your team to the best of your ability, and don't be afraid to speak up or challenge things. But also remember that there will always be people around you that know more, have experienced more, etc. So set your focus on actually learning from them. Everyone seems to leave university thinking that they know everything, me included. We have that ego, we passed our degree, yay. But believe me, you'll learn a lot quicker and a lot more, and a lot more positively, I suppose, if you actually drop that ego and openly accept that help and advice, and don't be afraid to seek it. Because again, rolling back to the first point, is you're not expected to know everything on day one. So don't feel like you have to pretend that you do. And then, moving on, I think a bit more onto the technical side of things. For me, I suppose this was one of the bigger things that I think I missed on learning at university. I wish that we had studied this, I suppose. And that's being source control. So if you guys think about your group work and your group projects, how do you share code between your team members? Do you use flash drives, Dropbox, email? Do you send photos to each other? Because I remember back in my day, I had version 1.20001 final _final. And that would go around, and at the end of the day, we'd probably use the wrong one, because we had about 4 ones that had the word final in it. That might be a way of working at a university level, but definitely doesn't exactly work at a company level. So in a work environment, we actually use something called Git. 99% of the companies that you'll join will definitely be using Git. So I definitely challenge you guys to try it out. If you haven't already, again, for all I know, curriculum has changed, and you guys do have quite a nice intro to source control. I'm not sure, but definitely it would be worth trying out if you've got an upcoming project that you're working on, or a pet project. You don't need more than one person to introduce it to your project. So basically, at the most high level, what it is that you'll have your project will sit in a repository in the cloud, and everyone will have a local copy of it on their machines. As one person make changes and the other person make changes, basically synchronizes and merges up in the cloud. So it's indispensable when it comes to sharing code between people on the same project. Sorts out all of your problems, and you never have to worry about which _ final is the final version of your project. So yeah, definitely try it out, look it up, play around with it. And but again, now I'm mentioning this, if you haven't heard of it or if you haven't used it, remember, I was in the same boat and I'm fine. So it's, again, just something that you'll pick up on the job. So mentioning it here is more getting ahead of the curve, so that, on day one, when you hear someone talk about source control, you're like, I know what that is. Just getting ahead of the curve on that one. And then, lastly, I just want to close off, I suppose, with a few basic buzzwords that were new to me on day one when I joined Entelect. So remember, I do come from the applied mathematics stream, not necessarily the ISTN stream. So I think you guys might know a bit more about some of these, buzzwords rather than from the mathematics stream. But it doesn't hurt to mention them either way. So if anything on this list is unfamiliar to you or you haven't heard of before, I do recommend maybe just giving it a very brief, look up. I have put some links up here. We'll make this slide available at the end. But yeah, so again, I didn't know any of these, and I'm fine. I learned it on the job. So again, it's just a heads up, I suppose, to get ahead of the curve, because these are the kind of things that will help you when it comes to, applying for your job, your technical interviews, your, day one, actually understanding what you have to do. You get put on a project, at the end of, for example, your boot camp, and now you've got to work on these things, or you're learning these things in boot camp. It's basically just getting ahead of that curve, so you more or less, aren't in the dark on day one. But again, I was, and I turned out perfectly fine. So please don't stress if you haven't heard of any of these things on the list. You're in good hands. And then, following on from the basic buzzwords list, I think my colleagues might kill me if I don't talk about their, book of books. So I had never heard of this book at university. I doubt any of you have, but my goodness, it is mentioned on a weekly basis at Entelect. They love this book. Everyone absolutely idolizes this book. So if you guys do have the means or methods to, get yourself a copy of this, maybe give it a read or find snippets of it, it's definitely a worthwhile, investment or time. I mean, disclaimer, I have not read it front to back. I actually don't know if anyone has read it front to back. It's more of a chapter by chapter basis, but it is a very, very good read. And that basically concludes my technical talk, which is more of a how to approach day one of your workplace and what to focus on. So if you guys do have any questions specifically for me after this talk or days, months, years from now, you can get hold of me at my email address or on LinkedIn. Otherwise, please reach out and come work for the coolest company and join my anime club. And yeah, here are the links for the site, email, and LinkedIn for Entelect.
Great. Thank you so much, Jenna. Such wisdom coming through from you. It's such a pleasure hearing you talk and just reminiscing in terms of knowing that you wanted to work for Entelect and hearing you say that it's one of the best decisions career-wise that you've made. So well done on that, Jenna, and well done to Entelect as well. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're the reason I'm at Entelect, because I remember having this discussion with you back in the day.
Awesome.
So yeah, thank you for that.
Great. So thank you as well for emphasizing Git. It's an area that we're working into, so great to hear you reaffirm that. And to our students, great opportunities await you at Entelect. Obviously, we don't want you all to rush off and go. Like Jenna, we would like you to stay for honors, and advance yourself to a certain extent. Let me not take too much time. I'm sure our experts are here to answer your questions. So we'll go straight into that. Perhaps Bianca, I'm not sure if you've had a look at some of those that you think you can tackle first.
Sure.
And to our students, please feel free at this point, we are going through the chat, but please feel free to actually raise your hands and we'll give you an opportunity. Over to you, Bianca.
Perfect. Thank you. So the first question I came across was, I'll complete my degree in June next year. Can I apply? So we are looking for graduates and graduates only that are completing their degree or honors degree or master's degree at the end of this year, being 2022, to start with us in January of 2023. So if you're only completing your degree in June, maybe I need to understand a little bit more about what that is. Is it a module? Is it a few more modules? And maybe you can just email me personally on that, and I can get back to you a little bit more in depth, just depending on where you are. But if you are only completing that degree in June, we most likely wouldn't be able to take you on in January because you would miss our boot camp, which is vital to the students we take on board. Having said that, and it's something very new that I don't even think Jenna might be aware of, is this year we trialed out a second boot camp. So we took on 15 additional students / graduates / people that maybe had a few months experience under their belts on the 1st of May. And we might do that again next year if the program is successful, because it is not as intense as our current boot camp, because you probably would have had, a couple of years experience. So again, I think everyone is, we want to treat everyone individually. Everyone has a different process in terms of where they're at. So if you can just email me and I can get back to you on that. Then what transcripts do you require? So the documentation for your application that needs to go to career or careers@entelect.co.za is your CV. And in your CV, remember that this is the first introduction that we are receiving from you. It is basically you putting a document in front of us to get to know you. So we understand that you've only been to school and you've been to university. So please elaborate on other things that you've done, whether it's projects at university or side gigs that you've been involved in, or mentoring other students, or telling us a little bit more about yourself. Do you play a musical instrument? Anything that personalizes you in front of us on that application. And please be cognizant of spelling. As software engineers, there's lots of attention to detail that is required. And we do look at stuff like that as well. So just remember, it is your first introduction to us. So put your best foot forward. If you have already applied to us and you want to upload and send us an updated CV, please do that. We'll get rid of the last one and make sure that we're using the most recent one to look at. And the next question is it for graduates only? Yes, our graduate program is for graduates ending their studies at the end of this year. So graduating at the end of this year. Please note that we know that your graduation ceremony might take place the following year, but you would have completed your studies at the end of this year. So don't confuse the graduation ceremony like that happens a couple of months after you've graduated and get confused with that. What are the requirements for applying in terms of semester results? So when you apply, your latest transcripts is what you just need to send us. So if you don't have your June results yet, don't worry about that. Just send us what you have. Back work programs for first years is not an option. We do offer back work program for second and third years. And the reason we don't offer back work for first years is you actually are contributing to projects. And we don't believe that your first year is the right year for you to be able to do that. For schoolgoers, which obviously you aren't, but if you have brothers and sisters that are at school and wanting to see what kind of software engineering world looks at, we do look at job shadowing as well. Then can we apply on LinkedIn? You can, but why would you want to when you've got my email address and careers@entelect.co.za? But you are more than welcome to apply on LinkedIn. We do have an advert currently on LinkedIn for our graduate role. So if you've come across that and want to apply through that, absolutely go ahead. You can apply through our culture sites, which is culture.entelect.co.za. You can apply at careers@Entelect. You can apply at career@entelect.co.za, or a one-time only offer today. It's actually coming directly through me, and my email address was on the last slide, which is bianca.mcfadyen@entelect.co.za. What if you are doing computer science as a major? That is 100% fine. Please apply. Imposter syndrome. We all suffer from that at one stage of our life. So we talk about it quite a bit at Entelect. In fact, I believe it was our CEO that actually gave a bit of a talk about imposter syndrome, and admitting that we've all at some point suffered from the same syndrome. How do you overcome that barrier? I think it's a very hard question to answer, but the more experience you get and the more confident you feel in terms of what you're doing, you'll feel less and less like you're not contributing and that you don't know as much as the next person. And remember, when you are only students, this is, you've got a long career ahead of you. When you look at your career, and don't get a fright, you're not looking at 2 to 5 years, you're looking at 30 to 40 years as what your career is. So as Jenna said earlier as well, like there's lots of time to focus and learn and grow and hone your skill sets.
Let me just add on to that. As someone who also went through imposter syndrome, we all have, like she said. But one of the nice things, I suppose, let me toot Entelect's horn, is having imposter syndrome is not something that is kept quiet. It's something that's open. It's something that's spoken about, and it's something that you're not supposed to be ashamed of. It's a positive, because we've taken on that culture that everyone goes through it. Everyone has it. So you're not alone if you worried about something. You speak up. You mention it. You ask questions. You're not stuck in your corner worried that you're not any better than anyone else. If you ever have that feeling, you actually just speak about it, and it's accepted pretty openly in all of the teams. So that is kind of an important thing to note, that I think differs a lot from more of the corporate side of things, where that culture might not be there. But again, not speaking from experience, because I work for Entelect. But yeah, back to you, Bianca.
Cool. I think the next question is actually for you. So apparently they've heard that you're a full stack dev, Jenna, and they want to hear more about that.
So Then we start getting technical. So full stack dev, basically you code from what the user sees to the data that is stored. So majority of the time you'll be developing a web application, so a website. So you go onto Google, www. And the front end is, so front end engineer will be the person that codes what you see, what that person sees on that website. They will be deemed that the front end engineer. Then behind the scenes, you'll get your back end engineers. So they will be the ones that code the functionality, that does the logic, the data, all of that behind the scenes, the stuff that the user doesn't actually know about, because all they see is that screen. So it's that back end, and that's your back end engineer. Then you get your full stack engineer, which blurs that line, which means I code what the user sees and I code the logic behind the scenes, and then also query the data, bring the data back, manipulate that data. So there's no part of a system that I don't interact with. So I'm not limited to only work on that front end code which the user sees, and I'm not only limited to work on the back end, which is the code that the user doesn't see. So full stack is a lot more fun, in my opinion, my humble opinion.
Thanks, Jen. Then let's just see some other questions coming up. See, everybody's getting into it now, which is great. We've answered the posture syndrome. Somebody laughed about posting your code on WhatsApp. Just for everybody's own information, if there are any students here doing a engineering, so for instance, an electronic or electrical engineering degree, and you've done some software in that and you want to pursue that, we do definitely look at those types of engineering degrees. It's not just business computer science, obviously applied maths as well, and a combination, information systems too, if you want to kind of go down that BA route, UX engineering as well, and obviously on the data solution side too. Those are just a handful of the graduate roles that we take. The majority are software engineers. We believe that it's great to get experience as a software engineer before maybe diversifying and specializing in something like, data solutions or UX, etc. So yes, if you have a BCom and you're majoring in information systems and technology, you absolutely can apply.
Hi, Bianca, if it's okay with you, while you just skim through the other ones, can I just give Musa? He's been brave enough to raise his hand. Musa, go for it.
Hi. Sorry for the background. It's actually a follow-up question from what Moni just answered about Jenna being a full stack dev. So my question is, what technologies does one need to be accustomed to in order to go a full stack job? I understand that JavaScript is key as a full stack job, but other than that, what other technologies does one need to know or understand?
Musa,
Thanks, Musa.
Sorry, Mandla. So Musa, I think I heard you a little bit. There was a little bit of background noise, but I think your question was around the different languages and maybe what we can advise or what different languages we work with. Mandla, you might have heard more.
Yes, I heard. I think he's asking Jenna to elaborate just in terms of what other languages, are applicable to a full stack developer. He says he heard the JavaScript emphasis. He's like, besides that, is there anything else that you can talk about?
Oof, so many. JavaScript is mostly used as a front-end framework. So you code what the user sees with it. It's very good at building up your HTML and stuff that the browser renders. you can also use JavaScript in the back end. That's called Node.js, which I also love. But yeah, I suppose JavaScript is one of them that can be used for both front end and back end. So it's a full stack language. Then MVC, that would be .NET, which is C#. That's a very common language in corporates. That also basically can be full stack, where everything from front to back is basically coded in C# or Razor pages. And then, yeah, other than that, because of the fact that the front end and the back end are divided, so your front end and back end are mostly going to be talking to each other. They're not going to be the same thing. Which gives you the opportunity to mix and match your languages as you see fit. So you can put a JavaScript front end on a Java application. You can put, I'm just going to say JavaScript because I love JavaScript. JavaScript front end on top of a C#. You can put it on top of PHP. You can put it on top of anything. So yeah, it's important to note, I suppose, that with a web application, most of the time, you can mix and match your languages. You're not tied to use one in the front end and the same one in the back end. So I have a lot of interaction with a lot of different languages. So at the moment, my current project, I've got JavaScript with the React framework. I love the React framework. It's my favorite. And that sits on top of a C# API. So yeah, you mix and match as you go.
Thanks so much, Lena. Sorry, Jenna. Lena, do you want to come in?
Yes, Mandla. Sorry, there was a nice question posed by PhD students, hence I actually think it needs to be aired. I think this is for you, Bianca. You have a PhD student who has, in his undergrad, doesn't have computer science as his major, but he's done a lot of work in coding project in his honors, masters, and PhD. I'm assuming this would be a student that is doing either pure or applied mathematics. So students in the astrophysics department. Would you consider, or can he apply to your programs?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's not, degrees are important. And obviously we look at specific degrees because we understand what the content is there that you learn. But if you have been doing, coding in your PhD projects, your PhD projects, and also kind of on the side, and you've now have a passion for that, and you understand that that is the road you want to go down, absolutely. So please do apply. I think there was also a question of what is the minimum qualification average percentage Entelect require. So the news is that we do definitely look at marks. We absolutely have to look at marks, but we are not going to penalize anybody through the application if in your first year, you kind of new at varsity, you've taken up this degree, you've maybe not done as well as you would have in certain subjects, but that we can see over the next 2 years in your second and third year that you've improved considerably. So we look at that, and that is why we ask for transcripts, so that we're not judging and making decisions based on, a piece of information, but more from a holistic perspective from your career at uni. I did put my email address in the chat again. How do we get into the VAC work if we're in our final year? You may email me as well, and we will then consider you in our, so we're a bit late now for June, July, but definitely at the end of the year. There are a few direct messages. I'm hoping I can just read them because it might apply to everyone else. But what do you guys offer for second and third year students looking to work for your company? So that is the VAC work that we do offer, and we offer VAC work twice a year. And do we offer bursaries for honors and all bursaries, which we don't? So because of our foundation, which is our CSI project, where we really give back to our community and upskill underprivileged people out there. We don't, as well as having our boot camp for those first 2 months, which is quite an intensive program. What we do offer is time off to obviously go and study and write your exams. And there are lots and lots of people at Entelect busy doing their honors and masters part-time. Does having a master's help you more than a person with an honors degree? No. Starting as a graduate at Entelect, everybody starts off on the same foot, whether you have a master's, an honors, PhD, and you all go through the same graduate program, and everybody's salaries are based off of it being equal. Remember that even though you've done that additional year or two, you're doing it because you're passionate about the subject matter more than anything else. You still don't have working experience. So we treat everybody equally on that point. Advice for first year students, yes. There will be plenty of time to go jolling and passing with your friends after university. Knuckle down, study hard, because it will hold you in good stead afterwards. At work, do you spend the whole day coding? Absolutely not. I think more time is spent making coffee and having cooler chats at the water stations. But no, there are lots of different things that happen throughout the day. There could be, stand-ups you have with your teams in the morning or afternoon. There could be client meetings that you've got to join and participate in. You could be presenting at a training, an internal training event through a Coffee and Code or dojo, and then obviously working on projects between that. So no, absolutely, you're not behind a keyboard, 8 or 9 hours a day, but predominantly that is your role. But there's lots of stuff that goes on around your day.
I think let me also add on to that. So yes, definitely no, coding is not everything I do. We don't sit at the computer churning out code, because there's a lot of design and team collaboration. So the reason why I actually wanted to take this is I saw another question in the chat here. Do you offer anything like system analysis, cloud computing, and system design? I mean, formally, no, but I do parts of that every day. So, what's nice is, yes, I'm a coder, but I'm a designer. I am a cloud engineer. I am a DevOps. What's nice is we actually touch everything. So if you're interested in, cloud computing or those deployments, then you just focus a bit more time on doing that part of the project. Or, if you care more about the look and feel of the front end, you spend more time on, that part of the thing. If you care more about the design of the system, you get involved in those talks as the team are designing things. So what's nice here is you don't really start off being, that term, the coding monkey. So you're not just given a task and being like, cool, go solve it, and you don't know what you're actually doing. It's more the case of from day one, or at least from day one after boot camp, you are you're an integral part of the team, and you're part of almost every discussion, whether it be the design of the system, whether it be, basically anything to do with the system, how it looks, how it feels. You talk with you might not want to hear that, you actually have to talk to people. But yeah, I suppose if you want, basically whatever you are passionate about around a developer's career, you have an opportunity to spend more time doing that if that's what you want, because we have the opportunity of getting introduced and touching every single part of everybody's job, which is nice.
Friends, thank you so much, Jenna. Thank you so much, Bianca. Unfortunately, we haven't managed to get through all of the questions. It's been so exciting just to hear, students get involved It's so exciting just to hear from you as well. Thank you so much for coming to speak to us. Thank you so much for offering our students opportunities. And also, thank you for the book prizes. We are told that this year we're getting a lot of gifts from you, partnering with us to recognize excellence from our students. So thank you, Entelect. To our students, thank you so much for joining us, for participating. We look forward to engaging with you again in more of our tech talks. You've heard from Entelect. Sounds like they're a wonderful company. We recommend that you give them a go. And hopefully you will be an alumni one day coming to talk to us just like Jenna. So thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon. I see there's a message from Lena there. Lena, do you want to? Sorry, Jenna is saying, any questions for me? Please feel free to reach out via her email address there. So thank you once again. Good afternoon to everyone. Cheers.
Thanks, Mandla. Thanks, Lena. Cheers, students, and good luck, guys and girls.